There we go. It's a new camera, man. So have some patience. Make sure y'all can hear me. Mic check, man. You catch some of the comments real quick. Who all we got in? Bigfoot, Tony from Reva, Mr. Diddy, Longbeard, Scotty, Daniel Miller, TNC Dev, Longbeard, Alan Holman, Cashville Bill, Thomas Ledwick, Scotty C. Red. There's an alien in the house. Tyree Haley, Country, Travis Bickle. Fatal said, "What's up from St. Louis?" Mikey Wall, Julie Straley, Robert Williams, Aaron Jackson, Midwest Hippie. What's good with everybody, man? If y'all didn't catch it live last night was one of those. You ever had those nights you can't sleep? You just need to burn off some steam. The beach is a great place for that because you can just walk. So I threw the camera on. I think we kicked it for like 3.5, 4 hours last night. Walked almost 12 miles, man. That was crazy. Give y'all a second to get in here, man. Hey, salute, Elias. I appreciate that. American Macho, Winter Park, Florida in the house. Make a bunch of mods tonight, too. Y'all gonna put the trolls in timeout. They're gonna join in. We know who it is, but regardless. So when you coming down to Tampa, Jay, I'm gonna be honest. I want to go to Disney, but after all the stories you hear about Tampa and the police down there, Florida's a place I try to avoid. As a civilian, I'm scared of Florida. And I'm on subscriber only mode. You have to be subscribed 10 minutes of comments. So for the trolls, you got to wait 10 minutes and then you go back and unsubscribe when you're done. Robert Williams said my boy's uncle just got out after 23. That's a stretch. I got a homeboy, Woody, that gets out. Not Woody, Mark gets out the 27th of September after 21 years. So I'll be videotaping picking him up. Vegas Prison Stories, sell out. Salute Jay from Nevada, homie. All right, Vegas Prison Stories. If y'all don't know who that is, go check him out. He's an up and coming channel, man. Awesome dude. I like this better. I like being able to actually respond to the comments. Last night was walk in and this and that. Latoya Foots, hey, salute. You got to watch your surrounds. You don't get hit by cars, drunk people all around you. You can't really pay attention to the computer like that. Hopefully, this autofocus will kick in. How's it sound, y'all? It's new mic, new camera. What is slow mo for comments? That's so that your comment can get seen. If I don't put it on slow mo, the comments come in so fast that I don't get to read none of your comments. So I gotta put it on slow mo that way I can actually vibe with y'all. Got Bigfoot in the house. Big Weavy. Big Weavy's another prison channel that is up and coming. It says sound is funky. All right. Some people saying good. Some people saying it's funky. It's the microphone I got with me, so you got to bear with me. You have to turn your listening ears up. Said it would probably sound better indoors. I'm sure. I'm sure it's picking up the background sound. Let me kill this AC real quick and see if that helps with the situation. Be right back. There we go. How's that? Got to keep a watch for my niece. It's actually my niece's 14th birthday, and that's what we're doing at the beach this weekend, this Labor Day weekend, is supporting her turning 14 and just her being family all together. Appreciate it. Elias said that heart, that hat's hard as reading y'all's comments, man. Somebody said happy birthday. I'll let her know, man. For me, birthdays are a big thing. When you grow up a certain way, like and y'all don't have a lot, birthdays aren't really something you look forward to. A birthday as a kid when you're poor is just a reminder that you're poor. Does that make sense? Like you don't get gifts, you don't get all the cakes and things. So we didn't really look forward to birthdays as children. So with my kids, my family members, my circle, birthdays are a big deal. Appreciate everybody that caught last night's live. There's a couple trolls in there that said that they were riding around looking for me and they knew where I was at. And here's the crazy thing. They said that and I continued to do what I was gonna do for the next 3.5 hours. I didn't go inside. I kept walking, kept doing me. These dudes, they're comical at times, man. They're gonna exist. Anybody that wants to be a creator, a YouTuber, expect them, man. They're gonna come, and you gotta learn to laugh at them. If you ain't got thick skin, this ain't the place for you. Said last night was therapeutic. Yeah, it was good for me too. Bigfoot got timed out for no reason. Yeah, it's a 20-second thing, man. It just if you can only comment once every 20 seconds, it allows the next man to be able to speak. Doing time with Big Weeby said that live last night was fire. I had ODM Slim, Crip Max old manager on my live last night. That's cool, man. You networking. You're reaching out and touching people. Duck Far, Alabama. Hey, bro, was supposed to do a. Let me see this. I had swap. What's that address again? Did you hit my email? Hit my email with the title hat. I brought a lot of hats with me, and actually gave a lot of hats away while I was down here. Anybody I ran into that recognized me from YouTube, I signed the hat, gave it to. I asked them, "Do you want to sign? You just want the hat?" So I gave a lot of hats away. Hear the waves in the background. That's awesome. Harvey Talks Prison said, shouting out Bigfoot. So the tow company, it's on the back burner right now. We got a lot of stuff. I could go get trucks tomorrow if I wanted to with my credit score, my savings, but I actually enjoy flipping houses again. I got rid of all the unnecessary drama that came with it, and it's something I enjoy again. But I'm still gonna do it. I can't buy all that stuff. The lifts and stuff are being used for the automotive repair thing, so there is being money. There's money being made there. Jay John, hey, I salute you. What's the email address? J Let's Live Life at gmail.com. Real quick, rest in peace to Pat Stay, man. One of the battle rap legends. He died, and that's a sad, sad day, man. Pat Stay was a monster. Pat Stay was super disrespectful, but I wanted to take a second to say RIP to that man. He was a monster on the mic. Sad to see Pat Stay go. Country said, when you love your work, you never have to worry about work. That's true. I used to love when I first started flipping houses. I was all into it. Then I got into the YouTube scene and I ended up more behind the camera than I was actually working. I was there, but I wasn't physically working. Now that I'm back to the physical aspect of it, I've missed it. And I'm blessed that it's still there. I didn't let it go. The guys I got rocking with me, they're still with me, grinding hard for me. I appreciate them. Said how did he die? I don't know. It came across my feed that Pat Stay had died. I'm not sure if he was killed or what happened. It's a sad situation though. Dallas the one. How's Bubba Jacob doing? He's locked up. I hate to say that he's locked up. I got a text the other day that said, "Hey, little Bubba's locked up," and I already knew what it was. It's one of those things where he still ain't got it right, and I hope that he does, man. So keep him in your prayers. Doing time Big Weeby J. My pop's side of the family's from Fredericksburg. Never really go out that way. I try to stick to the Tri-City areas, Richmond, Chesterfield, around there, Petersburg. Said Pat Stay got stabbed. Unfortunately, he's a big dude. I could see him getting stabbed. When you're big like that and you scare people, that's bad for you because most people aren't going to fight you these days. They're going to stab you, shoot you. The worst thing you can do is make somebody fear you and not do nothing to them. Blue Bullet said, I have to lug 75 sheets of sheetrock tomorrow. I'm glad I'm not you. AZ's in the house. Shout out to AZ Ruckshire, it's my guy. I told y'all AZ was one of my trolls at first. He used to jump in my comment section and have me heated saying things. And then as I actually talked to dude, we had a misunderstanding. We got cool. AZ's cool people, man. Any more info and interview with Chad Morris? I asked Jacob's daughter if anyone got in touch with him about helping Jacob get released. Jacob has passed the appeal process. He's 20 some years in. There are no appeals. There's nothing that can be filed on his behalf anymore. Only hope he's got is for parole and the petition that everybody signed. But he won't be coming home on an appeal, man. That's a dead subject. Any update on Savage? No, I don't have any updates on Savage. I've seen some videos getting more into detail on what happened to him. It's just one of those things that goes back to what I tell y'all. Don't get on here causing enemies. Don't get on here beefing with people. All publicity is not good publicity. Be careful what you say. Words have power, and they will make somebody feel some type of way. As a grown man, you shouldn't want a bunch of drama in your life. I like my kids and my family and doing normal things. I don't like drama, man. I'm 40 some years old. I don't like getting caught up in a bunch of drama. I hate it. I hate drama more than anything, so I avoid it. But I think that's what kind of led Savage to lose his life was just constantly going back and forth with people, having beefs with people, and it came to a head. Chicago's in the house, Miss Jackson. Much love, Chicago. Much love back to you. David Dan Dungeon, Jay, would you ever consider doing a video about when you got sick in prison and they neglect you? Uh, I've done them. I caught norovirus one time, me and my celly Woody, and they just let us lay in there. And by the time they got us to medical, we were good again. The, the, the nurses are sweet, man. They do what they can, but as far as like administration and the process, it takes so long. And usually by the time you get to medical, you're no longer sick. Trying to catch comments, catch up with y'all. Anubis said, I went to prison for 0.001 gram of heroin, and that's dust, on a distribution charge based solely on a text message from my phone. No actual delivery. Ever hear of someone going to prison for something like so minuscule? I know of people going to prison for selling people drugs that died. Like they find somebody OD, and then they go to their phone and start checking the text messages, and the last message be to the dealer, and they can't really prove it was him, and then they go lock him up and hit him with a manslaughter charge. But Wiley Kyle said, Jay, bro, you gave me the strength to keep doing when I wanted to quit. Much love from Eastern North Carolina. Hey, I'm glad you got through that, man. Even when you come in dope sick, you're going to lay by the toilet and get laughed at by the guards, says country. True indeed. A lot of guys have been to county or been to prison or seen it. Guys will come in and they'll curl up by the toilet, I guess, because that steel toilet's cold. And guys will go and stand right over top of them and piss over them. Maybe piss on them. Nobody cares, man. It's the last place you want to go. If you got, it's a good place to get sober, but it's a bad place to kick. My dad's the 209 said, I've been out of prison like 6 years. Congrats. I've been out 8 years. You know, the longest I'd been out since the first time I ever got arrested, I think was 4 months. I hadn't gone more than 4 months since an early age without catching some type of charge. And now here we are 8 years. Somebody said I had to go to court for half a joint back when I was 19. I'm in Canada. Yeah, that was real common. the weed thing was real, real common. I got knocked off one time for a blunt roach that was in my ashtray. The only drug charge I've ever had was possession of marijuana, and it was a blunt roach that was in my ashtray that I didn't even know was in my ashtray, and they still charged me. Jessica Morgan said, "Jay, did you get my question? When you in state or federal, what is the difference?" There's a big difference. I was state, which means I committed my crimes on state level. I broke state laws. Federal is when it's as much as it's bigger than Nina Brown. It's bigger than the Carter, man. But yeah, I went to state prison. Federal prison, you could be housed all over the United States. When it's state prison, you're going to a prison in your state. Brian Stokes said, "Hey man, I got some guys on me, and I'm trying to get real serious. Is it worth it?" That's up to you. That's for you to decide. Just remember that when it gets real serious, there's no good outcome. Whether it be death, the penitentiary, you're gonna take yourself up off of here one way or another. So, is it worth it? Is the beef worth it? There's levels to this. Is it somebody running their mouth, or is it somebody that's hurt somebody you love? You always got to look at the bigger picture. But the bigger picture is, no matter what happens, you lose. If you get locked up, you lose. If you beat the man and kill him, you get locked up, you lose. So I'd say no. Why do you think I stay out of the drama? Because I know where I'll take it. I know when it boils down to it where I'll go with it. And my son's in their sleep right now. There's nobody out here worth that. I gave that up once. I gave that up with my oldest son. I gave up my opportunity to be a father and to be in his life for the streets. And I'll never do that again. So my answer is no, it's not worth it. You have to think about other people when you think about making decisions that come to life. Somebody said, "Yo, Jay, you was in Emporia with my customer." Okay. Peppermint Patty said, "Did you ever see anybody famous while doing time?" Most of the famous people usually hit the feds. I did see guys from the news, guys that had done heinous, heinous acts, that killed lots of people, but I'm not sure if you would call them famous. I've seen crazy people from the news. Jay, how was it? Revolt said, "Jay, how was it coming home with your oldest son?" It was awkward. It was real awkward. Trying to be a dad after being a convict for all those years. It was awkward on both ends. Him having a dad, me trying to tell him what to do. But it was something that I took to like a duck to water. I jumped straight in. I jumped straight in and just I haven't let up since. My son has been with me. I picked him up. I got with him the same day I got out. I snuck him on a car. He was at Arby's and I scared him. He wasn't expecting me to get out until the next day. And when he saw me and like he wanted to pass out, like it scared him. It's the first time he had ever seen his dad as a free man. He had a dad. And he has been with me ever since that day. He had to work this weekend. He's at the house now. There's other people there, but I wanted to be a dad, so it was beautiful, and I did everything I told him I was going to do through those letters. A lot of guys write these letters home. They make these phone calls and they make all these promises that are just that. They're empty. I didn't do that. I came home and I did everything I said I was going to do. I never knew one of my hidden gifts, one of my talents in life was being a dad. I'm a really good dad, bro. Something I take pride in. Jay Witt said, "Jay almost slipped up a few months ago, but I always think about your videos going back to prison. It's words that I need to hear. I need this as much as y'all need this at times, man. So if I was able to help you, I'm happy. And I really hope that people do listen. I really hope that people don't end up locked up because you're gonna hate it. The moment you see them red and blue lights behind you, it's a life changing feeling. The moment the handcuffs go on and you know there's no bond, there's no coming home. Whoever it is you turn to, your mommy, your daddy, your friends, they can't save you no more. It's a terrible feeling, and it's not over until they say it's over. Rahiza Mahid said, "I love being a mom, so I feel that in my heart. I love you, Jay. God bless. Mashallah. No doubt. The kids, man. How could you get out here and do something? And I get how you could do it because I did it. But I wasn't a father when I did that. I was just a guy that had a kid, and there's a big difference. Being a dad now, nah, you can't get me out my square like that. You run up on me, I got my rights. I can do what I want to you. But as far as me going back and forth with you and playing a part in something that could potentially get me locked up and taken out of my kid's life, it'll never happen. Reading this comment real quick. Wiley Kyle said, drop the email, dude. I want to share my story. Just put story time in the title. Give me a second to. Revolt said, my big brother Jay, if you had to design prison from the ground up, what would you definitely do? I would put guys together according to their crimes. You got guys that are in there for check fraud in the cell with guys that are murderers. I would put all the chomos together, all together. I definitely flock guys together according to their crimes. A lot of these guys that go into prisons that become victimized are guys that should have never been in them type of prisons to begin with. They should have never been on those levels. I'm messing with this camera a little bit, man. That is crazy. It keeps auto adjusting. I got a crazy story to tell y'all here in a few days. I kind of got to finish processing it myself. It was something that happened um, in my personal life that's deep, that's real, real deep, that I'm not going to get into. It's not about no YouTubers, nothing like that. It's like personal that I'm still trying to really like grasp a hold of. And I can't really talk about it at the moment because it gets me upset. It's one of the things that it's not a lot that can make me cry, but this situation broke me down. And it's something I'm still dealing with. And once I get past processing that this individual is now gone, that the reality of the situation is I'll never know certain things. Then I'll talk about it. But like I said, I'm gonna give the everything that's going on with that a little more time to unwind and blow over. I almost slipped up and talked about it last night. I wanted to so bad. I needed the advice, but I'm gonna hold off on speaking about it until a little later. Somebody say, "Hey man, did you get your workforce back firing?" What I did was I put my tool belt on and I jumped in there. It's insane that I fired half my crew, and with half my crew being gone, me with a tool belt on, we double production. That's when you know you got a serious problem. When you double production with half the men you had last week. How does that happen? But we're okay, man. I hope it's not Philly. No, Philly's good. This is nobody y'all know. With this person, it's nobody y'all know. It's nobody I've ever spoke of. It's somebody that I just come to find out here really recently was even a person in my life. Was even someone that I never knew this person existed up until a few months ago, and this person ended up being somebody very important in my life. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. Once I tell y'all more about it, eventually it'll make sense. Don't put things off. Don't put things off. Don't think that tomorrow you might be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and talk about it because you might not. And that's what happened with this situation. Um, he had called me a couple different times to talk, and I was busy at the moment. And I said, you know what? I'll just call him. I'll just call him. And I went to go call the guy last night, and he didn't answer the phone. And I won't ever get to have the conversation with him that we should have had. It's deep, man. This is some old Dr. Phil need to go to counseling type shit that I'm not ready to talk about because it's like it goes back. It's bigger than me. It's way bigger than me. But once I get into it, it'll make sense. I'm gonna leave it alone for now. Just get back to the comment section. AZ Rock says Superfax Lance is a good solid dude. He is, man. He's become someone I'm really close to really fast. Someone that I know has my best interest at heart. He's a very loyal guy that has been his downfall time and time again. But there's nothing wrong with being loyal as long as your loyalty is in the right place and it's towards people that are gonna reciprocate that. They have the same for you, kind of like the Marines do, or any type of service. Them guys are loyal to one another. You know, without a doubt, the man standing next to you is gonna do what you're gonna do, will die for you. Loyalty is one of the things that you have to pick and choose who you give it to. Most of us are loyal to the wrong people, and we see that in the end. When things go bad, I think that's what hurts us with others is we were loyal to them, and then we see how fast they can turn on us. That's what goes back to me saying you gotta check yourself sometimes, man. Check your loyalty. So Jehovah said, "What up, Jay? Greetings from La Breta, Califas. Okay, salute." Alan Holman said, "Shout out to USMC." Absolutely, man. Shout out to all our military branches, all the men and women that are out there putting their life on the line for us. At the end of the day, you always got to remember this is something they signed up for. Not many of us have signed up to be shot at. We just haven't. We might have done things knowing we're gonna get shot at, but not many people get shot at and then go back to where they just got shot at and do it again. So big salute and much love to the services. What the Buck said, that's a fact. Loyalty isn't reciprocated right nowadays. It's not. And we don't live in the same world that we once lived in. To all you dudes in here that are still subscribed to the streets, that are still thinking you're gonna live by this code or do this and do that, you better stop, man. You'll learn real quick. These streets ain't loyal. They don't love you. And most of these guys out here, they don't love you. There's gonna be a handful of guys you're gonna meet in life that truly love you and have your best interest at heart. And for some of y'all still haven't even met those guys yet. Mark W said, Jay, you're the best, bro. Definitely a true man. Thank you. I salute you, man. Thank you. Jason Puda said, Jay looks like he slimmed out, looking healthy, my G. I appreciate it. I had to. I was putting on weight, drinking Red Bull, sitting in the truck all day, making videos, sitting around editing all day, eating late night will put weight on you. So I got to be if push comes to shove, I can't be running out of wind in 60 seconds, 90 seconds. So yeah, I got back into cardio, calisthenics, eating right, dropped the weight. I feel healthy. I feel better. And not only that, my little boy looked at me one day and said, "Daddy, that's not healthy for you." Like I still smoke cigarettes, and I know that's super unhealthy. Or like the sodas and the Red Bulls. He said, "Daddy, that's not healthy. That's going to kill you. Like, don't eat that. Don't drink that." And if a kid's telling me this, I mean, you might want to listen. So I got more active, more healthy, shed the weight, went from about 225 to about 195, and I'm good there. Started lifting weights again. It's a slow process. I've got fractures in my rotator cuff. I've got other related injuries here and there. So slowly working my way back into it. But I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely dropped the weight, and I'm happy about that. Casey said, "At Jay, try not to let that affect your mental or take your energy. I know it's hard to let your emotions override your mental with all that you've been through. I know you're capable. I am. Me and my wife talked about the situation today, and I broke down. And then I'm one of those guys that when I break down, I don't like others seeing that side of me. So I'll put a wall up, and I put that wall up immediately. And I was just like, look, with all due respect, I don't want to talk about it no more. When I'm ready to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But as of right now, This isn't something I want to talk about. And I got to come to terms with it before I can really, you know, talk on it. Soldier Jehovah said, "Yep, I'm older and lifting a lot, but it takes longer to recover when you're older." Well, I still have injuries I never got taken care of. I have a bilateral tear um, on my right bicep that I got from powerlifting. Then I've got the sciatic I got from the sciatic nerve I got pinched from deadlifting. Then I've got the stress fractures in my rotator cuff that I got from lifting. And the doctor told me when he X-rayed me and he asked me how much I was lifting. You know what he asked me? Why? When I told him what I was benching, he was like, "Why? Stop! Don't do that." He's like, "You're human. You're not supposed to. You're not a machine. Your body's not designed to lift that much weight. Your bones are not that big." He's like, "Some men are just basically big men. You're not that guy to be lifting that much weight, and that's what's causing this pain in your shoulder and these stress fractures and cracks. Is you thinking that you're Superman trying to lift all this weight?" Martin Bates said, "Just gotta say, I was having a bad day at work the other day, and I watched a couple of your videos, and they helped me with the rest of my day. LOL. Just saying, you help us in a lot of ways on different days. It's good to hear. It helps me on a lot of days in different ways. You can really tell when I start going through something in life because one or two things is gonna happen. I'm either gonna disappear from YouTube for a minute so that I can collect my thoughts. I'm not gonna get on here and be all messed up in the head and give you all some crap or just I can't go into story mode and do Jay Williams Let's Live Life if I'm not right up here. And then if I just start dropping content back to back to back, a lot of times subliminally I'm venting. But as of lately, I've had a tool belt on. Y'all want to know where I've been at? Covered in sawdust, out there with my guys working, making a living, ensuring that my family has a future. To anybody that ever makes it on YouTube, don't quit your day job, man. Do not quit your day job. This is not promised. I've seen careers belly flop overnight. I've seen guys that were getting major bags quit their job, stick to YouTube. Look at EDP. Look at EDP. What more can I say? No, not that I'm comparing me or anybody I know to EDP, but it goes to show you how, in an instant, something can be here and be gone. It could be a simple word that can get you canceled with this. Mecca Jason, that's a cool name. Said, "What do you think was the worst injury you ever had? The worst injury you ever had?" I got a tattoo once and it got infected. Been there, done that. Because the guy didn't take care of his equipment and the doctors had to remove 50% of my arm muscle. That's rough. I've had staph infection, MRSA. I've never had it to that level. I would say that my sciatic nerve was one of the worst injuries. It's one of those things that never goes away. It will follow you the rest of your life. You will be in pain the rest of your life. You will forget about it and then twist one day, and for the next 3 4 months you'll be in pain. The other injuries that came with weightlifting and stupid stuff, getting stabbed, stuff like that. All that stuff is momentary. It's like it's pain at the moment, but the sciatic nerve damage is something that just is unforgiving, man. I think that's Goija. Hey, salute, thank you. Jay Broski, will you ever interview your mother podcast style and talk about your youth? Because it would be extremely interesting to see another perspective. I know. I've talked to my mom about that. My mom goes to counseling. Like a lot of y'all might think it's a joke. My mother, bless her heart, goes to counseling. To this day, she has to go see, she seeks counseling because of everything that she went through in her life. She says she'll be watching my videos sometimes and I'll speak on something that'll bring back a memory and it will she'll have to go straight to her counselor. It almost put her in nervous breakdown mode. I think if I was to bring my mom on camera, which I would never do, that it would do more harm to her mentally than it would do anything. And I'm not doing that for no channel, for anybody out there. My mother is gonna, you know, live her best life as long as I got anything to do with it. I would never bring her on knowing that's gonna have a negative effect. Christian Anthony said, maybe take a break from stories if you even feel like it. Try telling us prison recipes. I love watching those. No, I'm about to start doing this thing. You didn't catch last night's live. We'll be talking now. I'm about to start doing this thing called Now That It's Over, But It's Never Over, where I go back and I talk about things that were once real big in the news and now we know more about. And I've already started writing it up and doing the video for it. The first one is the Mandalay Bay shooting, the guy out of Vegas. That's crazy. There's so much that goes into it. Super entertaining. I'm a nut when it comes to wanting to know knowledge like this, but I'm going to go back and recap things that have already been put out and then now put all facts together because more stuff has come out that we don't know about because this is no longer trending when it comes to the news. It's fallen off the back burner, off the stove all the way, revisit it from the beginning to the end. And the Mandalay is that was just one of the situations that was crazy. This man was way up in the air, firing with automatic weapons to crowds of people. And to this day, they have no apparent reason. Like, is there ever really a reason? But at least sometimes people they have some type of insight of what would make a person do something like that. And he didn't. So that's what I'm about to do. Is I'm about to keep doing what I'm doing, but I'm going to switch definitely. Like with the Savage thing, that was one of my first true crime videos, crime related videos, current event videos. That's where we're going with this until we level up and take it to the next level, man. See, I like sitting. I get to actually read y'all's comments, not be told how I'm about to be pulled up on and, you know, all day you've been talking about the drive by. It ain't did shit but drive by. New Age Plug said AZ Ruction, Diddy, Breadwinner, Ronnie, Blue Eyes, Fire 8. Salute and thank you for the donation, man. Joel Cortez said, you have a good heart, Jay. I do have a good heart. I do. Anybody that knows me, I don't care what they say about me. If they say something bad about me, it's usually because of something they did, not me, man. And if I'm close to you and you're around me, I'll give you the world. I'll give you the shirt off my back. There was a dude out here on the strip earlier, and he was holding a sign. He said, I'm from Philly, need a bus ticket to get back to Philly. Been here on this concrete since the 22nd. And me and my son, we went and got Ben and Jerry's. Me, my wife, my son, and the little girl went and got Ben and Jerry's today. And we were walking by him, and I was reading the sign, and I stopped and I handed him $20, and then I just went into kicking mode with him, just talking. Sometimes people need somebody just to talk to. And this man is sitting on this bench. You can see he's distraught, and people just keep going by him. So I stopped, and I was like, "You all right?" After I gave him $20, I walked off a minute. I came back, and I was like, "Yo, you all right?" And he was like, "Not really, man." He was like, "Me and my wife agreed to come here together to get away from Philly because it's gotten so bad out there." He said, "We got a room, you know, we both got the debit card to the bank." He said, 2 days after we got here, she took my van, all my belongings, and left. He said, "I went to the ATM, tried to pull out enough money to catch the bus back to Philly, and she had blocked my car, turned my car off." And whether he was telling me the truth or not, I don't know, man. He'll have to answer the guy for that. So I was like, damn. And I was asking him where he was from at in Philly, and he was from South Philly. I knew the section he was talking about. And we just kind of stood there and kicked it for like 10, 15 minutes. And I gave him money, not to exploit it, but I hope somebody else will do the same. I gave him money. I gave him enough to get his ticket, to get home, to be able to eat, and, survive a couple of days. And when we walked off, my wife was like kind of standoffish as I was doing this. She was like, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "Because it was the right thing to do." She's like, "Well, what if he goes and gets high with the money?" I said, "What he does with the money now, that's on him. That's on him. I did what I felt was the right thing to do, and that's why I stand. And I'm like that with people in my circle, people in life in general. I will help people, and what they choose to do with it is what they choose to do with it. There's never going to be anybody that can say I don't have a big heart. It is one of my downfalls. It is played against me time and time again. In helping people, you become vulnerable. You there's so many different bad things that can happen to you in trying to help the next person. I'm learning, but that's who I am. That's my heart. Somebody said the more you give, the more you get in life. I just feel like if you're in a position to help somebody else, you should. There was times I was down and out, and nobody, I, there were very few people I could turn to. I would have loved to know there was somebody like me walking around out there in the world that actually cares about people, but not many of us meet. Not many of us meet that kind-hearted individual that comes along. Most of us just go through life struggling. It makes people angry at the world. It makes you feel like you're all alone, when in reality you're not. There are some good people out here. Bigfoot with the donation, man. Big salute, Bigfoot. He said, keep being a positive influence on the people, bro. Brian King said HBD. I'm not sure what that means, Brian King, but I thank you, man. Did you see the reaction on your last video? Who did I seen the reaction the dudes did out of Cali, and I actually messaged back and forth with them. So yeah, I seen the reactions. I would definitely say my covering of Savage's death was one of the more respectful ones. I didn't say anything disrespectful about the man. I didn't know the man, and I didn't wish no bad on him. But it just goes to show you, you cannot. Especially with social media, everyone sees your face. Everybody. It's not a place you want to get on and piss everybody off or make threats or run your mouth about people. Because as I've said, everybody sees your face. There are some people out here right now that don't care nothing about prison, that are not threatened by it, that do not care about going to jail. There's people out here right now that are better off in jail than in the streets. So you never know who you're really creating an enemy with when you're creating enemies, especially with the internet. Because most of these guys aren't really what they appear. They're not. Dana Plant said, Hope Bella had a great first time at the beach. She needed that much love to your family. She loved it. We took her down to the pool today, and there's something that we're gonna have to get the people to check into with it. That's off when it comes to water. Like she will literally start crying when you put her in water. I do not know what it's about. She's saying little things that are starting to raise suspicions to me. But we're gonna have some type of psychologist or therapist, maybe an OT or something, sit down and talk with her and figure out what it is. But she had a blast. The pool, all that. We're gonna get up early in the morning, hit the beach, hit the sand, hit the water. She had a blast. She's loving it, and it was her first time at the beach. Van Land said, Heathen said, ever get subscribers come to your house? No, but I run into subscribers all the time. I run into my viewers quite a bit. You go into somebody's house, that's a little much. That's where my family's at. I don't know how I feel about that. Seeing people out in public is one thing, but somebody like pulling up to your house, that's a whole different type of thing. That's where you're automatically on the fence the moment you even see them or recognize why they're there, man. But no, I've never had nobody come to my house. I've had dudes come to my job, dudes pull up beside me in traffic, stores. Not a whole lot of places out in society I haven't ran across people, but not my house. Mike Minnie said, "You do what you think is best, Jay. No matter what videos you make, you'll have your true fans following you. Hope things okay mental wise. We're here for you, man. Thank you for helping. Thank you. You don't know what it is to have people to listen. I'm a quiet person for the most part. And I've told y'all this before, but when I'm not behind this camera, I'm not Mr. Talks a lot. If I get on the phone and I get in my moment, like I talked with AZ today, me and him, I can talk to AZ for hours. Shout out to Ash Ruction. Great dude, man. He's a really solid individual. I can talk to him for hours. But outside of like a good phone conversation, I'm usually quiet because I'm usually thinking or I'm in my head, or I just don't want to indulge too much about myself, this is where I come when I really, really need to get things off. I really need to just talk to somebody is here. And it's sad that I have to make friends this way because you got to be careful making friends out here in the real world these days. There's only so much my viewers, subscribers can do to hurt me. But these people out here that we call our friends, there's a lot they can do to hurt you. So I'd rather, sadly enough, come here and vibe and kick it with y'all than have a hotel room full of people, if that makes sense. James Johnson said, James, please be careful. You sound like me with a big heart. Don't let anyone take advantage of your kindness and weakness. People will try. I've come to learn that. I've come to learn that. I've been taken advantage of. But I will say this, I knew that going into it. People with big hearts, you will know sometimes when somebody's ulterior motivated. You'll look at him and be like, man, he thinks he's slick. And you'll still do it because your heart's in the right place. J. John, a salute, man. Do a time with Big Weezy. He said, thank you for supporting us smaller channels. If y'all ain't subscribed or checked out Doing Time with Big Weezy, go check out Doing Time with Big Weezy. He's a new up and coming prison YouTuber. I support all you guys, man. I want to see y'all win. Why wouldn't I? People think that with YouTube we're in competition. We're not in competition. Do you know who I have to compete against? Myself. I've got to constantly compete against Jay. What the next man is doing is cool and all, bring something new to the game. But at the end of the day, whatever the next man is doing has got nothing to do with me, what I do on YouTube, what I make on YouTube. Like I'm competing with myself. So shout out to all y'all, man, and I hope and pray that y'all you get noticed, y'all do what y'all supposed to do on here, and that YouTube can change your life the way it's changed mine. This has definitely changed my life. It put me in a position to, with the construction company, making great money. With YouTube, I make good money. Put me in a position to be able to give my children a life that they deserve, that every child deserves. My kids had a good life long before I ever was a YouTube channel, long before the world knew who Jay Williams was or Let's Live Life was. My children had a good life. We had the nice vehicles, the nice house, the good credit score. Like I had worked on all those things for them. YouTube just like elevated it and took it to the next level. Johnny Amarilla said, growing up is great, but please remember what we all started watching you for. The best part of your channel was the raw, uncut reality of your stories, tales from the visiting room volume. Absolutely. Greenstone's got 3,700 people. Could you imagine being at a prison with 3,700 people? People say sometimes, man, I was locked up and all these years, I ain't see that much stuff happen. Well, chances are you were at a camp that had between 400 to 600 people on it. Medium custody, even if it was max, it's 400 to 600. Now multiply y'all's population times six and tell me what you see then. Tell me how many stories you've got once you've been locked up around that many people for that many years. That's a lot of damn men and a lot of situations that popped off nonstop. But yeah, I'm always going to stick to there's always going to be something to take you back to the basics of what this channel is. We'll never get too far from that. Alan Holman said, happy Labor's Day. Let's celebrate the social and economic achievements of American workers. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. James John said, Jay, you are so correct about the slick thought, but still doing it thing. I'm currently going through that with the hotel I work for, always asking for favors that turn into hours. It becomes frustrating. You know what you're signing up for. You know what they're doing before they do it, and you still say yes. That's where the you're being taken advantage of comes into play, but you also being a good person. It's hard, man. It is hard to not let people around you in situations turn you cold and make you dislike the world. It's hard. I've had so much happen at times. I'm just like frustrated at the world. The world's done nothing to me. I refuse to let the actions of several people convince me that the world is all bad because it's not. I've seen beautiful acts. I've seen kind acts. I've seen and met some amazing people. So I'm not gonna let, for better or worse terms, the scum of the world convince me that all the rest of the world is shit, because it's not. Rose said, "What happened to the girl?" Revolt said, "What happened to the girl that ran away from your house? Is she still with her boyfriend? If you want to speak on it, don't know. She ran away. She had been with us for years. She was my niece. She came from a rough life. We took her in life, and she became crazy about this boy, and we weren't having it. Like, you still got to. We can't let you lose yourself. And if you told her she couldn't do something when it came to this boy, she was gonna do it. If it meant jumping out the sixth floor window, she was gonna do it. And we haven't heard much since she ran off. I know that she's okay. That's all I can really say. There's more that's now happened as far as things she's done since she's left, but I can't really speak on it. But she's okay. Oh, let me read that comment. Jade Ford, salute. Thank you, man. Cameron Hazelwood say, Jay, are you doing another event for the kids in Richmond? Absolutely. Whenever they drop the locations and what's going on, we'll usually do a Zoom meeting. Me and other people from these nonprofits will do a Zoom meeting, and we'll all talk, and we'll go over what's needed for the next event, food, um, whatever the event's based around, who's going to help with this, and this, and we coordinate to make sure all of us come together and get everything together for the kids. So I'm just waiting on the next time we coordinate, but I'm always going to be tapped in with the community and trying to help the kids, the people out here, just because it's the right thing to do. Somebody said relationship with your dad would have changed a lot. I'm not sure what that means. Trying to catch up. Salute from Trenton, New Jersey. Volt said, "What if she will have a baby and is not with the boy anymore and asked to go back to y'all with the baby? Would you allow this? This happens more than y'all think for. She could come back today. God's honest truth. It hurt us when she left like that. She betrayed us. She snuck out. My little boy was very attached to her. Like, she was like his sister. So it hurt us, but at the end of the day, we love her. And if you're watching, come on. Come on." Johnny Rodder said, "Jay, do you ever dream that you are still in prison?" Those are nightmares. I have those dreams, but it's weird. I have this dream where they allow me to leave for a little bit, and I'm supposed to be back by a certain time. And if I'm not back by a certain time, then I never get to go home. And I always end up being late in the dream and trying to sneak my way. It's crazy. Sneak my way back into the prison. And I have these dreams where I've just like gone crazy and done these crazy crimes. Nothing like y'all are thinking, like hacking people up, but I've like shot or killed somebody or done something I shouldn't have done, and the narrative gets twisted to where I'm the bad guy and I'm on the run, and then I get caught at the end of my dream and handcuffed, and I can always see the prison off in the distance, and then I wake up. I have those type of dreams. Those are scary, and those are terrible. And it's not. It's to make it clear to anybody that's never been incarcerated. The fear of incarceration for some is the other men, is the inmates. My fear of incarceration comes from the lack of freedom, the lack of movement, the loss of loved ones. I can handle my own. You know what I mean? There's only one or two things can happen in a fight. I win or lose. That's not the scary part. The scary part is being told what to do all day, every day, and losing the biggest gift that you have in this life next to life, which is your options. In prison, you don't have many options. They give you your options. AZ said that's crazy. I still have crazy nightmares still. There's certain things that I remember that I'll dream about from time to time that happened. I saw it happen, and I'll wake up and I don't care what time it is. If I got 4 hours until I go to work, I refuse to go back to sleep out of fear of falling back into that dream and having to relive what I once saw. I'd rather stay awake. Well, Mud said, "Do you think you would dream about prison still if you didn't talk about prison in videos so much?" Um, yeah, I do. I think that sometimes me making these videos and talking about the things I talk about in these videos may cause me to have my dreams. But at the same time, long before I was a YouTuber, I was having the dreams, except they were much worse then. They're not as bad now as they were at one point. But and then there's nightmares in general. There's things I've seen in the streets that shook me to my core. There's things the evil that men can do. I've seen that I can't I don't see as clearly in my head as I do in my dreams. So I don't know. I think that constantly talking about prison and keeping prison on my mind is a good thing. I don't think that anybody that's ever been locked up should forget that. I think that's why a lot of these guys get out and reoffend. It's because they forget what they've been through, they forget what they've done, they forget that feeling that comes with everything that's associated with being locked up. And when you forget where you've come from, don't be surprised if you end up back there. And a lot of guys do that. They get out, and as soon as they step out the door, it's like none of that ever happened. They hit the streets, they go right back to their old selves, and it's usually not long before they're reincarcerated. To me, I don't ever want to be that guy. I have my DOC ID, like I have it. I mailed it home prior to coming home from prison, and I keep that thing up where my gas gauge is. My wife's got it a lot of times, but she don't. I have it where my gas gauge is, just to look at, just as a reminder of where I came from and what I've been through. Don't ever forget the things that you've been through in life. A lot of those things make you who you are, man. And they also keep you from being who you once were. AG Rock said, being at 23 and 1 so long, I got out with sitting bathroom stalls because I was more comfortable in such a small, confined space. I'm good now, but at first it was weird for me. There are certain things after getting released that you're going to do that bring you comfort. Um, I just wanted to be alone sometimes. I just needed that, like you said, with that stall, I needed to be alone, complete silence. I'm a big fan of silence. Anybody that's been locked up knows prison is jail as well as a very loud, chaotic place that's always got something going on. So when you get out, you want silence. My dad was like that. My dad, well, I thought he was weird, but now looking back on it, I get it. He used to freak out over the lights being on. He hated the lights being on. He hated it being noisy. If he laid down to take a nap at 2 o'clock, true story, everybody in that house is going to lay down and take a nap. And I hated that growing up, but I understand now why he was like that. If he's gonna be asleep, everybody else is gonna be asleep. Ain't nobody moving around him. He didn't like the noise because he lived in prison for such amount of time with that noise started driving crazy. And he didn't like the lights because in a lot of prisons you can't control the lights. It's always bright. You see these movies where prisons are dark and gloomy. Most of them are really well lit up. There's a lot of light, and it gets old real fast. Victor R said, "Hey Jay, have you watch House of the Dragons yet?" No, I'm one of those guys. When I watch shows and stuff, I let it play all the way out, and then I go back and do a marathon. I hate waiting until next week. I'm not. I do it every now and then with a show, and that's why I don't do it. I'm impatient when it comes to stuff like that. I don't like not knowing what's about to happen, so I'll usually let the first 8 or how many episodes there is run, and then I'll go to wherever and watch the whole thing all at once. But I will check it out. I haven't seen it though. Azam Blue said, "Would you do a video on breaking out of the patterns of being institutionalized?" I feel like even if you haven't done time, it could be beneficial to break out of deeply ingrained patterns. Yeah, absolutely. It's actually a good topic. But I don't think I didn't really have much to break when I came home from prison as far as being institutionalized. People asked me when did the how did I reform myself? What did I do when I got out to reform myself? The reform started while I was in there. The change started to take place while I was in there. You can't wait and take prison as a joke all the way to the last day and then get out and say, okay, I'm going to change. You're probably not. You're probably going to end up locked back up. I started noticing things I didn't like about myself years before I was released. And I started focusing on them things and working on them and trying to become a better person, addressing my negative, characteristics and my negative traits and qualities. I would focus on them, almost obsess on them. And I started working on me long before I got out. As a career criminal, I knew I could not get out and not have done something different. I was going back. So many years before I ever got out, I had already started working on who I was as a person. And coming out here, once I hit, the real world, all I had to do was apply myself. And I did. And how could I have gone wrong? To go from voluntarily making bad choices to making the right decisions in life, like it's a no-brainer. You do what's right, and most of the times you're going to get good results. If you do what's bad, you may get away with it for a while, but you're eventually going to get caught. Why would it? I mean, I just don't. It's hard for me to grasp who I was at one point. It's hard for me to grasp things I've done and why I did them. At this point in life, I'm not a bad person. I have a lot of regret, and I cannot say that enough. I have so much regret for things I did in my life, and there's nothing I can do to change any of that. But I do feel like if I can be a good person moving forward, then it to me that just makes sense to do. Chill Will said, "Hey, Chill Will is my guy, man. Much love to Chill Will. Aside from the comment, and all that, Chill Will, I've messaged back and forth with Chill Will before, is an amazing person. The world needs more guys like Chill Will and guys that genuinely care about others. He's a good person." But Chill Will said, "Thanks for checking in, everybody. Smash that like button. Support the channel. Thank you, Chill Will. Salute, man." I will not be leaving a good review on this camera. This camera's terrible. Maybe it's the nighttime, whatever it is, but this auto focusing it keeps doing is terrible. Hazy Rock just said, "At DJ, that's funny. I can't eat honey buns at all." 5 years, 5 years I went without eating a soup. I could not. I used to throw them away when I would catch them in the cabinets. Uh, any of that stuff, pickle in the bag, certain things I would throw away if I found them in my cabinets. And then back when I used to drink, I got drunk one night and I went in the kitchen and I went into prison mode. I went into big mode, and I made a what's called a chili bowl. The crackers, the soups, the chili, the sausage, the cheese, the pickle, and all that. I made this chili bowl, and I'm not gonna lie. Even though we're not eating steak, we're not eating shrimp, some of that shit is good. It might be a whole bunch of shit thrown together, but I've made it for the kids, and it's like one of the most requested things in the house. Hey, Daddy, make one of the pizzas the way you make it. I'm like, you want me to make the pizza with the chips and stuff? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it took me many years before I could even stomach the thought. Like, you leave a bowl of oodles and noodles sitting there, I walk up, pick it up, and dump it in the garbage disposal. Revolt said, for me, the issue was and still is when you're in that life, you have lived in the night for years. Going back to living and waking up early and stuff is hella hard. That's my issue. Yeah, old habits die hard. That I had to try to explain to somebody recently, like somebody I knew, how to let go of like the life he once knew. He's like, how did you just come home and just turn the streets off? How did you come home and just cut everybody off? Like, he's like, I'm having a hard time coming up on my release date. Pause. Highway. He said he's having a hard time coming up on his release date with letting people go. He's like, I want to come home and stunt and shine and show people who I am. And my response pretty much was, the only people you should be trying to impress are your kids, your family. These dudes out here that didn't care nothing about you when you were gone. Why do you care what they think about you? They haven't thought about you, not wrote you, haven't done anything, and you're concerned with impressing them. Impress your children, impress your mom, your dad, the people that care about you. Put on for them. Let the streets go, man. Let it go. Somebody said, yeah, Jay tells good stories. He's the white Biggie Smalls. I got his most. I started doing it the other day, but then we decided to do this and come out here. But I got a most savage moments from prison video coming that was just a compilation of some of the more savage things I've seen done. Y'all gonna love that video. We're leaving here tomorrow, sometime tomorrow. So my next video will be Tuesday. I did want to get some lives out to y'all while I was here. I have plenty of time to think, time to sit and listen to the ocean. It gives me time to build with y'all, and that's what I've been doing. That's what I did last night. My feet hurt. I have not walked that far in a long time, and especially in a pair of Bo Jacksons, the black, white, and gray Raiders Jacksons. Them shoes are not made for walking. Them shoes are made for look. Say what you want. A lot of these shoes these days are made to look good on your feet. They're not made for comfort. The bottom of my feet feel like they were beat with sledgehammers. My watch told me it was like 11.4 miles I had walked during last night's live, holding that selfie stick, talking. It didn't feel like it until I woke up this morning and my feet were hurting. But I had a good time, man. I didn't even know that. I was so focused on just paying attention to my surroundings and walking and not walking out in traffic. I didn't even know there was trolls in there talking all that stuff. I found out about it today. I put the video on private. That was 4 people that were there last night, and I went back and watched, and I was like, these dudes were really talking about pulling up on me last night. And you got to be stupid. You got to be stupid to just go out there and think that you're gonna run up on somebody and do something to somebody. And I knew it was trolling because it's the beach. There are cops everywhere. And then I cut off the sections where there ain't no cops. There ain't no cops behind me on the strip. I'll be on that strip by myself. I'm not going to let nobody scare me off or put fear in my heart. It's not going to happen. And to anybody that knows me that would ever try to get on here with a fake account and try to do it, if you know me, you know it's not going to happen. I'm going to go on about my business. Catch back up. Thank you, Chill Will Salute. He said, damn, Jay, you almost hit 300K. I remember when you were at 3K. I remember that too. I remember praying for this. Just, for people to listen, people to watch, to be able to reach people. I never started off doing this. Here's what separates the people that actually make it from the people that don't a lot of times. If you come into YouTube and all you can think is, I need to get money, 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 you're not going to go anywhere on YouTube. If you come into YouTube genuinely enjoying what you do, sharing with the world, it's fun to you, it's therapeutic, and that's why you're here, those are usually the guys that go on to succeed at YouTube. I never imagined that one day I would get money from Google. That never even crossed my mind when I started my channel. That one day I would be getting a check from Google. You couldn't convince me that. I enjoyed what I did. I enjoyed the way it made me feel, and that's why I YouTube. That's why I did it 15 months, day in and day out, with no results other than knowing that I was helping the people that were watching. And now, like Chill said, we're almost at 300K. Then we'll be at a half a mil. Then the next goal is a mil. You know, Wesley mentioned that last night was a dope live. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I love just chopping it up with y'all, walking, talking. Had my backpack on with my laptops, drinks. Aaron L said, Jay, so you didn't have a dad to teach you stuff, but you're smart and did what most don't. How you think a strong father would have changed your life? I think my father was a major influence, a negative influence on my life, but still at the end of the day, it's on the individual. I know guys in prison that came from great families, that had great dads, great moms. I'd see guys in a visitation room sitting with their families, and it's like it doesn't make sense at times. You're looking at this guy with his mom and dad, which you can tell they're like the Thursday night we play Scrabble, Saturday night is pizza, Tuesday we watch a new Disney movie. I remember seeing guys in prison sitting with their families, and their mother and father reminded me of the people that would have that type of life, and it didn't matter. Those guys still got out here and got strung out on drugs. They still got out here and committed homicides. They still got out here and stole from people. Do I think that it would have played a key part in my life had I had a good dad? I don't know. I don't know. I'm all about accountability. I'm real big when it comes to accountability. My dad never committed none of my crimes, regardless of what he did to me, what he put me through. He never committed none of my crimes, so I can't blame him for the things I did. But I don't know who I might have been or how life might have turned out if I did have a good role model. But I'll never blame him because he didn't do it. I did. Those are the facts. Drake 14 said, Jay, I have a question. Would you ever collab with Jessica Kent? Absolutely. She's a great YouTuber. Absolutely. Very entertaining, very smart. Her charges are all out there. I mean, I don't even want to. I'm not even looking forward to like interviews. You have to be so careful on who you deal with when it comes to YouTube nowadays because you become associated with these people and people will quickly attach you to something the next man did. Even though you've never done nothing like that, you weren't there, you've never done anything like that. Just in interviewing somebody, people can say, well, you had him on your channel or you were on his channel, or it gets twisted around so fast that there's only select few now at this point that I would deal with, but I would definitely deal with Jessica Kent. And I'm also, when I do get to the interview stage, I'm going to put a disclaimer right at the beginning of the video, letting it be known I do not know this person personally, do not know their actual charges, and I'm going to start every video off the same. No disrespect. I'm not trying to disrespect your homeboy. You got any of these charges, these charges, these charges? Have you ever told on anybody? Nah, nah, nah. So that if it comes out in the end that you did, well, the world knows you lied to me as well. But yeah, Jessica Kent's good people, man. She's really good at what she does. AC Ruxton, that's one of those things we talked about today. True indeed. James Johnson said, fell asleep during last night's live. Went to see it, no upload. Anyways, can you elaborate on how YouTubers get paid? I never knew Google paid. I thought it was all only super chats, maybe some ads. The game is to be sold, not told, but Google pays you. You know, when you see ads in a video, that is, if you watch, the more of that ads you watch, the more of whoever that content creator is gets paid. And for each ad, it's like, it's not like they're getting dollars per ad or not even pennies per ad. You get paid per thousand ads that are watched throughout the time from one point, from the first to the end of the month. However many ads are watched or clicked on, that's how you get paid. You get a roundabout based number for every thousand ads. It can range from $15 to $20 for every thousand ads that are watched. And then that's how they base your pay. Blue Bullet says they pay good. YouTube gives you 65 and they take 35%. You're also responsible for your own taxes when it comes to it. Where a lot of people mess up is they make great money, but they don't put any aside to pay their taxes. So they get like Mike the Situation or Wesley Snipes or several men that have had good careers. They go through their careers getting all this money and they don't pay their taxes, and then they end up in federal prison. So they give it to you, but just remember that's not all yours. Uncle Sam will get his cut. Kobe Mud said, I just had my next month on YouTube so far, made 76 bucks. I ain't quitting. I'm small, 200 subs. David Dina Jr. said, Jay, put down those smokes. I'm quitting, bro. Let's do this. Anyway, me and my son, we love your show. I'm working on it, man. I'm a work in progress. I do still smoke, though. My cigarette's laying right here. I'm about to smoke one in a second. I do still smoke, though. But I mean, it's just one of those guilty pleasures. I don't drink. For a while I'd hurt my back, and I'd fallen back into the taking Percocets again to try to deal with the back pain. And once I seen, hey, this could become a problem real quick, I just rather deal with the back pain. So I don't do anything in life. What do? I smoke cigarettes and I drink drinks that have sugar in it. Like I'm a year clean, if not more. That's a major feat for me to be sober. Brian Halls, while in prison, have you ever lost electricity? I thought I told that story. I'll tell the story real quick, but we had the basements. Greensville's 4 floors, 4 different floors with cells. And there's a basement door you go down in, and only people that go down there are maintenance workers. Down there is the fuse panels for all the doors, the fuse panels for the control booths, the lights, all that. Well, the foundation in one of the buildings had took on a crack, and we got a really bad storm. So the basement flooded. There's a sump pump down there that's supposed to pump the water out if it goes in. These things were known for going bad. The basement flooded to the point that the water went up past the panel box. And when we got the call to go fix it, about 1,200 inmates had been without power for about 3 days. It was hot, middle of summer. The cell doors are electric, but a guard can walk up, put this thing in the top, turn it, and pop the cell door and open it. These dudes hadn't been out of their cells in 3 days. No lights, no nothing. They were mad. We go down in the basement. The first thing we've got to do to figure out what's wrong is they did what's called a main disconnect. They went outside and disconnected the power to the prison from the utility pole. That was the first thing. Had state police outside, all these different organizations because the security systems were down while we were fixing the electrical. We go down into the basement. The first thing we've got to do, we've got generators running outside with hoses so we can pump out the water. And this is no exaggeration. The panel box on the wall, the main panel box that blew up, had a hole in it, probably about the size of a bowling ball. Remember the movie Terminator when he shot the Terminator, blew a hole in his face, and was like, boom, that big ass hole? That's what the panel box looked like where it exploded. And we worked on it, restoring all types of stuff, the whole panel box, all these breakers, running new circuits, pulling new lines, and all this stuff. Now, mind you, is in conduit. We walked into the pod that night, around 8:30, 9 o'clock, into this prison pod, and that in all these cells around me, because they just heard this front door open, there are men standing there in the darkness staring at you. I'm with my boss, and he's got a flashlight, and he's got the cart, and there's the tools on it. And as we're walking, I hear fling, 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 and then I hear a battery. Somebody threw a battery. Boom. Dudes are throwing things. They don't know who's coming through. They don't know if we're the guards or whatever, but they're upset about this power being off, and they're humming things. And then I heard something go ting ting, and my boss takes his light and shines it over the floor. And when he shines it down, there's a big ass knife somebody had thrown out the cell trying to hit us with. I told him, I'm out. You know, I wear a different uniform than you. I'm out. I'm not in here. You're tripping. So we did back out. We did end up getting the power back on, but they were without power for a better part of, I think when it was all said and done, close to a week. The whole entire building smelled like just like a giant basket of your dirtiest and drunkest uncle's laundry. Volt said, Jay, I need to build a cheap, big, like 30 by 30 by 2 container for trees. I don't know. That's one thing I don't know anything about is growing weed or growing anything in general. But I would guess, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you use plexiglass because I don't know anything about the process of growing anything other than growing old. JP said, I was about to ask you if y'all have backup generators because we had them here in our parish jail and it ran the jail. Our backup generators, this is crazy. Our backup generators ran certain portions of the prison. They were on top of the building. They ran things that were more or less for the guards, but they didn't run cell power. They didn't run the day room lights. They didn't run things like that. They ran other small sections of the prison that were more important. Of course, the less important part of the prison being the cells and the inmates. So, yeah, the backup generators kicked in, but they didn't do the inmates no good. It did good for maybe the counselor's office or the computers that they needed to keep running at all times, but it didn't help us at all. DJD said, "My dad taught me prison sucks." My dad talked to me a lot about prison, but he was a hypocrite at times. He would talk about prison. He was in a place called the Wall, which is one of the most notorious prisons out here in Virginia, and he went through Southampton and Mecklenburg, and he would tell me prison stories, but that's all they were was stories. He didn't tell me life stories. He didn't give me the other things that I needed, like how doing this could. He would tell me a prison story and then go commit a crime. So it's like a double edged sword. He never really gave me the license, the lessons I needed in life. He taught me not to run. You know, he taught me. I'm not gonna say he taught me how to fight. He taught me that running from a fight wasn't acceptable. You know, I there were several different times I came home after fighting as a kid with scratches that he wouldn't be convinced that I won, and it would make me go up there and fight the kid in front of him again just to make sure I won. That's one of the things he taught me not to let people bully or mess with my family members. Like I had my brother and my sisters growing up, and if you went at one of them, it was my job to protect them, no matter who it was against. I had to protect them, and if I didn't, I had to deal with my dad when I got home. But somebody said, "Waiting on their steroids in prison story." Jay, salute, brother Hoball, as well. That was from TFM. I have so many different stories I still need to do. That's a great story, by the way, of when the dudes. We used to have this prison out here called Powhatan, and they had a slaughterhouse where they raised cattle, and they had a farm out there, and they used to feed them these pills to make like the calf grow to full size really fast. And when they shut all that down, they had no use for all these pills no more. They used to keep count of them, but guys would lie and say they gave it to the animal when they really didn't, but they started floating around in population. They started being crushed up to like a powder form, and guys would crush them to the point that it looked like powdered milk. And we could buy powdered milk on canteen, and they were getting them from one compound to the next. I don't know, and I know this stuff cannot be like FDA approved. I don't know what was in that stuff, but the dudes that were taking it did not look. It didn't look natural. You ever see one of those guys that gets so big that you're like, there's guys that work out, and then there's guys that it's like, what the hell is he on? That's what that stuff that they took that the cows were supposed to be taking did to the guys. I'm talking about guys had veins that looked like pool sticks on their biceps, veins running up the side of their necks that were as big as your thumb, real unnatural. But there was a wave of steroids at the prison at one point, and there was a lot of shit that took place behind it. Yeah. Aaron Elsie, you ever seen one jacked up for a pair of U ones back in the day with the 88s? I miss the old U ones. Hey, we did a house. The house we're working on now, there was a pair of 88s laying on the dresser. I took some video footage of when I went through the house. I think they were the purple and whites, and you can see the Ewans and this nasty ass, dirty ass house they were flipping right now with the 88 or the ball jacket or triple fat goose. That was a big thing back in the day. Getting jacked for your shoes, getting jacked for your jacket. See somebody walk home with no shoes and no jacket. The 8 ball jackets, the real triple fat gooses that had the fur around the collar with the gooses flying on the inside. That had them dumbass little feathers that would poke through. Remember they like micro stems that would poke through and poke you all in your neck. Oh, Jay said, Revolt said, Jay Williams, let's live live, bro, for real. By the way, for you, if you missed it, I meant actual trees. There's tiles on the owner that doesn't want to remove them, but he wants cherry trees in the garden. I don't know. I don't know anything about, and that's a trade they did teach in prison was horticulture, but it wasn't one that I was really interested in. I was more interested in building with my hands, so I stuck to like cabinet making, electrical, general maintenance, business management, plumbing, stuff of that nature. So I have no idea. Ask Google. Google's a beast. The internet, like AZ says, the internet's undefeated. Tampa Bay Dino said, Jay, have you ever told the story of how you tattooed while inside? There's a lot that goes into tattooing while inside. From the process of making the ink, making the gun, drawing the pattern, getting the pattern on, having somebody watch for the guards. There's a lot that goes into it. And I've got a bunch of different crazy stories that are tattoo related. I had somebody hide under my bunk one time, and I was in the middle of tattooing. And I guess somebody went and told on me, and I looked out my door and I seen the guards coming, and they were putting on these clear gloves, and the other guard, the rookie, was putting on the clear gloves because he hadn't got baseball gloves yet, and the more seasoned guard had on these baseball gloves, and I seen them with a black bag. They're coming towards my cell. I know why they're coming to my cell. I've got maybe 30 seconds to react before they get from there to here. I told the dude to get under the bed, took all the tattoo stuff, started flushing stuff, and putting everything else in my bam. My bam is the word we use for hiding spot. I kid you not. I hid this dude under my bunk. Now, when you lift the mattress back, it's a metal grate. You can see right through the grate. Well, I used to keep like papers and stuff underneath my mat, the DOC book, handbook, or other stuff, random magazines, random papers would be under my mat. I told this dude, get underneath the bunk. And I threw the blanket down over the side. They never found him. They literally pulled the mat back. And as they were shaking my cell, they tried to make it seem like it was a random shakedown. And pulled the other end back. He said that when they pulled the mat back, he was laying there looking at him. He said, I didn't blink. He said, I'm looking at this dude in his face, and the dude is busy, like reading what's on your paperwork. And had he just took his vision off the words for a second and looked to the right, he'd have seen me laying on the ground. I had a lot of crazy tattoo stories, man. How he didn't see, dude, that's still, I'll never understand. Maybe he did. Somebody said pump up the volume. How's that sound? Is that better? My volume was on 30. I don't know if that affects anything. Said he gave you a solid. Maybe so, man. Maybe so. Tyler Lumpkin said, heard in one of your videos, your son was born 8/4/17. You had my girls the 5th before 8:30 the next morning. They started kindergarten a few weeks ago. My son, why y'all do this? My son started school a couple weeks back. And I told myself the night before, I said, I'm going to stay strong now. Can't let little man see dad cry. You know, I'm a superhero to my son. I'm going to stay strong. I held it together until he got out that car. And he walked off with his little lunchbox in his hand and his backpack on. My wife, I drove that morning. My wife was in the passenger seat. I had my sunglasses on. I watched him walk off in the direction of the school towards the teachers. And it was the first time in 5 years that he had walked off and I drove off without him. And he loves school, man. He's having a blast. But yeah, I cried, man. I cried. It was like saying goodbye to my little boy. It was like, that moment has come where he has transitioned. He's no longer my baby. But yeah, shout out to you, man, and your kids. And school was, man, you want them to go, but you don't want them to go. Might set a lot of proof, right? Cole Giddens said, my daughter just started this year too. So for all you parents, I got to smoke, so y'all got to excuse me. I'll stand up. Give me a second. I don't like to smoke on camera. I do not. One of my biggest things I hate, do not photograph me with a cigarette in my hand. If there's a picture of me and I've got a cigarette in my hand, that's not going, that is, you're not putting that in the frame. I don't want that shown to people. So I just think it's a bad look. I know it's nasty. I don't think vaping's any better. You can feel the effects it has on your body, but it's one of those things I still do. Revo said, "Bro, smoke. We don't care, bro." See, I know y'all don't. I know y'all don't, but it's not how I want to be viewed. Tyler Lumpkin said, "I was scared for them." Me too. Me too. I kept calling my wife the whole day, and I was like, "Did you call the school? See, my son." And y'all think that y'all want. I put my son in a private school. I put myself in position to be able to do that. I did that. I made that possible for my kids. My other son, he's graduated. He's a manager at a store. And for my youngest son, Noah, he goes to private school. It I don't even know what to say. There's no feeling like the helplessness that feels when you leave your child behind. All day long, I have my wife. Did you call the school? Did you check on him? Is he okay? Is he crying? Is he asking for me? Does he need anything? I'll leave the job and go there right now. As soon as he got home, you all right? What happened today? You okay? Anybody mean to you? Meet any friends? What's your friend's name? He's like, damn, dude, I just come on, man, with all the questions. Weston Chavez said, Weston Chavez said, quitting ain't easy, but 3 years without a cig was not easy. You want to know a quick fact for any of y'all that's never been locked up? Here's a fact. When you get locked up, as long as you don't smell a cigarette, you won't crave it. It's not like out here on the streets when you're trying to quit and you know it's accessible. Like the store's right there and you can go get it. When you get locked up, you don't crave it, you don't want it, you don't think about it. But let some tobacco come in the pod or a guard walk by you smelling like a cigarette, and instantly the cravings will kick in. Other than that, that's how I know it's mental. And people will agree with me. You don't think about smoking at all until you smell it while you're locked up. At the moment you get locked up, you're not craving a cigarette. You're not. It goes out of your mind. Rodriguez Wallace said, Dan J, me and Xavier was following you last night. You look sad as hell, bro. We decided to leave you alone. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Don't hurt me. Thank you for letting me live, man. Thank you. Jeffrey Dodson said, how hard was it for you to get housing when you got out? Been out 2 years for trafficking and no one wants to give me a chance. It was hard. I was turned down. I had a good credit score. I've been locked up a long time. My roommate, that was my roommate prior to me getting locked up. We had a utility bill that was in both our names, right? So I go away to prison for 10 years. He never takes a utility bill out of his name, out of my name. So for 10 years, that bill was paid on time. I had great credit when I got out of prison, and nobody wanted to touch me. They would, they got that slot. If you ever been convicted of a felony, yes. And if so, what? Like, do you want to know them all, or just so I would do the most recent, which was malicious wounding and robbery. These are apartment complexes that are not the greatest. The apartments are nice, but like people get robbed out there at nighttime, cars get broken into. I was getting turned down left and right. That's when I started dealing with. I stopped dealing with the companies themselves and started looking for people that were, themselves trying to rent their house out. But it was hard. Robbie Rob said, AJ, they can get a couple dollars to eat. I'm starving and homeless. If you can, God bless. Robbie Rob, what's your cash app? Drop your cash app. Bilbo Baggins, that's crazy. We had a dude in prison. They call it Dildo Baggins. I was just watching over 3 hour live yesterday and you deleted it. I did. Oh, already you saw me get in my truck at 3 a.m. You was gonna snuff me. That's crazy. I didn't get in my truck last night. And what truck? What truck was I driving? I didn't even get in my truck. That's how I know you're a liar. Y'all play too much. On a matter of fact, Rodriguez, you got to go. We all know who you are anyway. So shout out one time for the keyboard warrior. Let's get him up out of here and send him to PC. Matter of fact, that's your one. I don't like doing that. That's your one. But you was never out here and you was never looking for me. Because if you was looking for me, you'd have found me. I wouldn't be doing this live right now. Dane Cheney, ever meet with Larry Lawton? Jay, no, I haven't. But I do know a lot of prison YouTubers behind the scenes. I know a lot of the other YouTubers behind the scenes. But no, I've never met him. No, I didn't send Rodriguez a side pocket check, man. I'm not going to do that. I don't like doing that. I don't like telling people they can't speak their mind. But if they get in here and start lying and just trolling, then you got to go. If you want to play games, you can go over to the PlayStation Network and leave comments over there. Jay, you ever been locked up with anyone from North Carolina? Yeah. My homeboy Rocky Reynolds was from North Carolina. The Crip dude that got his teeth knocked out. I also did the news clip. Rocky's from North Carolina. Solid. Boy, love to fight. Love to fight. Yeah, hey, exactly, JP. You couldn't find me in 4 hours. You weren't looking very hard. Huh? Dude dropped his cash app. Hold on. Hold on, Robbie. I do what I can, man. I will get 9,000 cash app requests tonight. I can't save the world, but I can help when I can help, man. Let me go back. Y'all give me a second, man. I'm sending through some bread. I took care of you, Robbie. Go get something to eat, man. My sister's in here. She said, "Love you, Bubba. Love you too." Mike Minnie, salute, man. 25. My mom still calls me her baby. He'll always be your baby boy. He knows you're a great father. Have a great night, Jay. Thank you. He tells me that, man. My son, he kisses me in my mouth. And I told him, I said, "You're not always gonna kiss me in my mouth. You're 5, man. There's gonna come a day when you're not gonna do that." Yes, I will. He doesn't know no better, but he tells me all the time, man, and it does something to me. He say, he'll look at me, and he'll say, "Give me a hug." I'll give him a hug, and he'll say, "You're the best dad in the world." Oh man, there's no feeling like that. It's nothing in this world that can compare to holding your child and them looking at you and saying, "You're the best dad in the world." I was never the best at anything except making bad decisions. And to have him say that to me, admit, tear up. Bobby Rob said, "Thank you, Jay. God bless you. Have a great night." Hey man, we fall down when we get up. I can't make your life better with money, but I can make your night better. Tomorrow it's gonna be what it's gonna be. It's up to you to make a change in your life. You can give somebody $1 million, and if they don't know what to do with it, in 6 months from now they'll be asking you for $1 million again, and their life will be right where they started at. Not saying that's your situation because I don't know your situation. I'm just saying that if something opens up for you, take it. Don't ever be too good to do whatever you got to do to get back on top, man. And I'm praying for you, and I wish you the best, man. Salute. Sock Walker in the house. Hey, big shout out to Sock Walker. If y'all don't know who Sock Walker is, y'all make sure y'all check out Sock, man. Love it, Jay. Keep doing your thing, fam. Thank you, Sock, man. Thank you for checking in, bro. Crystal Slaw said, "My son is 24. Still kisses me on the mouth and always can." You're his mom. It's a little different. It's a little different when the son kisses his mom on his mouth. It's weird. If I drop him off in the ninth grade and he kisses me in the mouth through the window of the car, to me that wouldn't be weird. But to everybody else, like they're gonna be taking my license plate number down, and I know it's got to come to an end at some point, them type of things. But I know that the love will only get stronger. I know he won't express it as much as he does now one day, and that's what bothers me. It's because I need that. That love, the love you get, like I said last night, the love you get from a child, there's no comparison. There's not. It's pure. It's honest. It's everything that everybody should be able to feel and enjoy at some point in life. My children's love is a love that nothing else in this world comes close to. And I would die 1,000 deaths just to know that they're okay, just to know that they go forward in life. Crystal Lightbody said, "Wait, hold on. Let me check out Tampa Bay Dino real quick." He said, "Jay, the younger generation can really learn a lot from you. Wise beyond words. Keep doing your thing." Thank you. I talk to a lot of the younger kids. We do these events. I'll grab the microphone and I'll talk to them. And I told them at one event, I said, I want y'all to look around at each other. All these different kids out here from different schools. And most of these are underprivileged kids. They're from poor neighborhoods, from projects. I said, I want y'all to look around at each other. Because in 10 years, a lot of the children that are out here right now that y'all are playing amongst aren't going to be here. Some of you are going to be dead. Some of you are going to be in prison. Some of you are going to be convicted of murder. And I hope that y'all pay attention to the reason we do these events and then we give back. And that it really sets home with y'all that y'all don't go out and make the mistakes that other people made. We can't make their lives better, but we can make their day better. You know, for some of these kids, they come out the projects and they come to these events, and it's a day where they don't have to worry about gunshots. It's a day where they don't have to look over and see someone they love in their family selling themselves to get drugs, or somebody in their family out there embarrassing themselves in drugs. They just get to go out to these parks, have these big barbecues, and run around and just be kids. And that means a lot. It does. The kids will always remember it. It's great for me. My son is at every event. All them kids know my son. They be rapping to him, telling him, "You the freshest little white dude I ever met." And he doesn't. My kid doesn't see color. He sees kids. Salute, Drew. He said, "You're a master storyteller, Jay. You're giving me a new perspective on life. Thank you. Thank you for commenting, and thank you most importantly for listening." Crystal Lightbody said, "Oh, I got to go back up. I need to catch a comment." Question here: what can I tell my daughter when she asks why her father doesn't want to be in her life and be a good dad to her? She asked for years now, and I still don't know what to say. What can you say? If you can tell her the truth, if you feel she can take it, you can tell her the truth. Or you could just, that's something, that's your story. That's the story you have to tell. I think at some point everybody deserves to know the truth. Or you just tell her that you're a beautiful person and it's his loss. We're not going to, cry over why he's not here, but you're amazing and it's his loss. It sucks that he's missing out on such an amazing person. I never lied to my son when it came to where I was at and I was in prison. At first, they tried to tell him I was at work, and I said, "Don't do that. Don't lie to him. Do not lie to that boy and tell him I'm at work. I don't want this to be for nothing. I want him to know there are consequences to his actions, and that because of my actions, I am in prison. I don't want him to do the things I did. He needs to know how real it is, and that he could end up here as well. Don't you lie to him." And I remember when he came to the prison and he told me, he said, "You're not at work. You're in jail, Daddy." I said, "I am. I am." And he asked me why. And I said, "Because I hurt somebody. That's why. Because I hurt someone and I'm being punished for what I did." "Well, aren't you sorry?" "I am sorry. But sometimes sorry is not enough." And I think those moments, those conversations I had with him in those prison visitation rooms, aside from his grandmother, his aunt, his uncle Lonnie. Shout out to Lonnie and thank you for stepping up for my son while I was gone. But I think a lot of those real conversations we had in that visitation room played a part in him becoming who he is today. It scared him straight. Here he is, this little guy coming in there to see his dad. There's all these big, scary looking tattooed men all around wearing the same clothing. He didn't want no parts of that. He never got in trouble, and I'm thankful for that. But I don't know what you tell her, man. You just, when the time is right, you tell her what you feel she can bear. Tell her the truth. Celia Holman, hey, salute, thank you. See, at some point it just catches up. The comments will just boom, just catch up to where they were, and I'll miss a whole stack of comments. But it doesn't mean that I don't love y'all, man. Jeff Cron said, "Man, I did the I'm at work thing, and I feel terrible about it now. I finally explained it, but I feel bad for lying the whole time." Well, I guess it depends on how much time you got. If you got 6 months, 90 days, a year, you might be able to tell your child, tell your child you're at work. When you got 10 years to do, Um, the I'm at work thing's not it's not cutting it. You know, and if you want your children should learn from your mistakes. In order for them to learn from your mistakes, you have to be honest with them. You have to let them know right from wrong, what it is you did, and hope that they learn from your mistakes. Molly Rosa said, Jay, I want you to know that you have inspired me to poop without looking around and see if there's a guy with a shank hiding inside my bathtub. I'm institutionalized. Man, you're tripping. Robbie Hall said, did you hurt anyone in jail worse than the guy? Did you hurt anyone in jail worse than the guy you hurt? Yes. Yeah, there were situations that I got put in that where some people only understand violence. And punching them in their face isn't going to stop the situation. It's not going to stop them. Um, a one-on-one fight's not going to stop them. You fight them one-on-one, and now they feel obligated to try to take your life. So unfortunately, there were incidents where throughout time I did have to hurt people, but it's not something I really want to talk about. I'm here now. I tell my stories when it's time to tell the stories. That's what the channel's about. But there's nothing I ever did while locked up that's brag worthy. You don't make no awards for this, trophies. Like there's nothing about being locked up that is braggable. It's not. I failed in life. I failed my children. I failed the people that really needed me out here, and I left them to fend for themselves. But yeah, there were moments where things went way worse than I wish they ever would have had to go. Revolt say, Jay, will you ever tell a story about you shanking someone, or is that off limits? I try not to talk about those type of stories. I don't want to promote things like that. I've touched on stories like that, but that's not what I want to promote. What I want people to take out of the whole prison stories and prison experience is that it's something you want no parts of. I don't want to tell a story about somebody shanking somebody or me shanking somebody, and some young kid hear my story, get locked up for 6 months, pull a knife on somebody, and somebody take it from him and kill him with it. You know, so was there ever one guy you didn't ever want a beef with? There was a lot of different guys I didn't want to beef with. At no point really did I ever want to beef with anybody. But there were a lot of people I think about throughout my years that I didn't want no beef with. And most of them guys were crazy. I don't want to kill nobody. I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to be the reason nobody's mother cries or that somebody has to be put in the ground. And for some of the men in prison, that's what you were going to have to do to them. So you knew you didn't want no type of problems with that guy because he was going to make you kill him or he was going to try to kill you. There was a lot. Looking back on it, there was a lot of different men that should have been in psych hospitals that were off mentally that you knew you didn't want no problems with. Now, if we could just keep it as simple as a fight, okay, you beat me up, you got me. But a lot of them guys, that's not how they're living. They're not. They want to do. They've done heinous acts, and they want a reason to do it again. And that's not. You don't want to find yourself beefing with that guy. Lamar, drop your cash app, man. Top five things to have in prison. Um, Definitely sneakers. A lot of places only do boots. Sneakers, thermals, You'll need thermals because it gets cold at night. A solid friend, paper and pencil, and faith. Joel Cortez says, seems like friendly fades no longer exist. They're rare. Everybody says it, but they're really rare. Dudes don't dudes don't want to fight no more. And they say they do, but most of them don't. I don't want to fight. Why get on here and try to act all crazy and cocky? I don't want to fight. I will if that's what I got to do. But most dudes don't. They don't want to fight, man. Like we said last night, when's the last time you seen somebody walking around with a black eye? You don't. Where I'm from, it's more common to run up on somebody that's got a healing gunshot wound than than a black eye. Yo, give me a second, man. Let me do this real quick. Oh, God. Hey, Lamar, is your stuff Big Gotti? Is that what it comes up as? Uh, what you do it is on you, man. Back to trying to read some of y'all's comments. Let me back up. Alan Holman said, I was away from my daughter when I was deployed to Africa and Afghanistan. I'm thankful at least I got to call home, but cried more than once after the phone call was done. I've been there. It's that phone call almost takes you away from your reality for a second. You go to a kinder place, a more loving place. You hear a familiar voice, a kind voice when there's everything else going on around you. And then when that phone hangs up, it's back to business. So I can't compare anything I've ever been to what you've been through with the services. And once again, thank you for your service. But I can definitely relate to being in a messed up situation or somewhere that was foreign to me and calling home and talking to someone that I care about and then having to hang the phone up. And just like that, it's gone. Said now everybody's dropping their cash app. It happens every time. It happens every time, man. I can't save the world. If I gave to every person that asked for something, I wouldn't have enough money to feed my children and family. But I do try. As y'all see, I do try. JD, you still talk to the younger generations now that you're out as Tampa Bay Dino. I do. I do. We do events anywhere from 1 to 2 times a month. I go back into the jails. I've started doing that. I've actually got Big Lance in the process of going into the jails and talking. I think it's something he's going to be good at, and I think it's something that's going to be good for him as well. I think it's on both sides. I think it's something he needs and that the guys will need. So we talk to guys that are currently incarcerated, and we try to get to people before they get to the point of where they become incarcerated. Jab Solo said, my brother did 3 years at Sussex 2 in VA. Comment on that. It goes down in Sussex. Most people up there have knives, a lot of stabbings, but it's like anywhere else out in VA. It's gang infested, and I don't care where you do your time at. Any day that you're away from your family is a bad day. And you'd be better off doing it on a low level camp where there's not a lot of violence. But remember this too: there's violence on low level camps. Just because a guy's locked up and his first charge ever is for selling drugs, don't mean that he might not have already killed 5 people, but all he got caught for was selling drugs. He just happens to end up on a low level institution because that's what he's currently arrested for. But it doesn't mean that he might not be a whole entire savage. You just have you have a lot more chances of things going really bad when you're locked up with those guys that you see on the news, when you're locked up with the more violent section of society than say the retail theft guy or the guy that, you know, doesn't do violent things. But Sussex, yeah, it used to go down up Sussex. Lost Celine said, I haven't seen the video where you tell why you went to prison, but you said you hurt someone. Did you ever get to apologize to them? I did my best to apologize. And the night that everything happened, I guess it was a traumatic event, and I don't fault the guy at all for not wanting to talk to me. I don't fault him for not wanting to hear what I had to say. I don't fault him, but I did do my best to make things right once I was released. But he didn't. He saw me and took off. He remembered me for who I was. The last memory he had of me was me in court being sent to prison, and the last memory he had of me prior to that was related to him being hurt really bad. So I don't blame him at all for not wanting to hear my apology. In no way, shape, or form was he obligated to accept my apology. It was just something I thought to move forward I should do. I felt wrong. I felt remorse. I wanted to make things better and let him know that I was sorry for what I did and that I deserved every single day that I did in prison for what I did to him. You know, for putting my hands on him, for robbing him. I deserved that time. I wasn't the victim. He was. I wasn't affected negatively that night. He was. I went off to prison, like I said, as I should have been. But I did try to make things right, and the guy didn't. He didn't want to hear anything I had to say, and I can say I honestly respect that. That's his right. Jay, were you ever locked up with Banky Pound? I've ran across Banky, and Banky's another really good and inspirational person. But I didn't know Banky like that. When I seen Banky on After Prison Show on Joe's channel for the first time, I knew I had seen him somewhere. I'm like, yo, I know this dude. And then as he started talking, I'm like, me and him have done time at the same compounds, but we were in separate buildings. So it wasn't like me and Banky walked and kicked it together. We were at the same prisons at the same time. We know a lot of the situations I talk about, Banky knows about. He can tell you about. A lot of the things Banky talks about, I was there for. I can confirm and I know about, but we didn't live like in close quarters. He was in a building next to mine. Conversation was upstate. I hope he sees you now and comes to peace with it. I've ran into guys that are actually part of his circle, guys that know this guy. And when I run into his friends, I do the same thing. I ran into one a couple weeks ago at 7-Eleven, and I was like, yo, how's such and such, man? I always ask about the guy. Because crazy enough, the night that I robbed this man and I hurt him, I met him before, and I didn't know it. I was drunk. I was on Xanax. I can make all these excuses. But at the end of the day, I was out of my mind. I didn't recognize the fact that I had seen this guy before. So I knew his friends as well. And he knows about my YouTube channel. They all do. And anytime I run into somebody that knows him, I always tell him, I said, what's up, man? And tell him, I hope that life has worked out for him and that I'm sorry for what happened that night. So I know he knows that I'm remorseful. He's seen my videos. I did a public apology video, and when I first started my channel, and that video was real for me. You go back and you type in Jay Williams. I'm sorry for anybody I ever hurt. That video was real. That video was raw. It was powerful, and I meant every word in it. I'm sorry for anybody that I've ever hurt or affected in a negative way. I think for a lot of us ex-cons and guys that were out here doing things, we have to first and foremost own up to what we did. We have to come to terms with the things we have done. We have to own it. We have to wear it. That's step number one. And then the second thing is do everything you can to make it right. And then last but not least, make sure that your future looks nothing like your past. Papa, the survivor, said, Jay, my dad is what you would call a state baby. What you think of state babies? I was a state baby. A state baby, for y'all don't know, is somebody that's pretty much raised up by the system. Somebody that's in and out of jail, in and out of prison. A state baby is somebody that has been in the system pretty much their whole life. I was a state baby. I started going to detention centers and group homes at a young age to the point that being confined felt normal. Normal. But what do I think? I think be patient, work with him, talk to him, let him know he's home now, embrace him, pick his mind, make sure that he's okay mentally, and do your best to try to help him adjust. Breadwinner Ruger up in the house. What's good with you, Breadwinner? I had the pleasure of talking with Breadwinner Ruger the other day. He's gonna, I think he started on his channel. Good guy, good father. We need more like him. Well, look, we're over 2 hours now. My son is 10 feet from me. He's right through this balcony door. And he told me before I started the live, he said, promise me you'll come get into bed with me, Daddy, and keep me warm. So I got to keep my promise. He's got a sheet and his blanket on. I'm going to slide up out of here, go spend some time with him, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button before y'all leave up out of here. I appreciate y'all kicking it with me, spending the time to talk, and just being here all together, man. I wish all y'all the best. Learn from your mistakes, people. Your future doesn't have to be your past. It doesn't. Own up to the things you've done in life, accept them, wear them, and move forward. I love each and every one of y'all. But anyways, these jails, these institutions, these prisons, these streets, they're all just crazy worlds inside of an already crazy world that we live in. And as always, man, y'all know what I'm doing. Just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? Like always, man, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. To all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching. But y'all still watching me? Like y'all know how we do. Salute. Thank y'all for tapping into the live stream. Get home safe. I love y'all. Happy Labor Day weekend.